Yo, what is going on? It is that time of year season again where we are talking about the top 5 league starters from last league as we look forward to patch 3.24, which we now know is going to be Necropolis League, set to come out in roughly 3 weeks from today. So I've been in the league start lab looking at stuff, trying the new transfigured gems without tinctures, without charms for a little bit now. Just to jump into league starter, I want to take this time to go over the top 5, maybe 6 league starters from last league. This is one of my favorite videos in every league. We go back in time, look at what people were doing, why, what could change, what did change, and just where we're at. So let's jump into this. Why do we do this testing? So we do league start testing, and then for me, it's looking for my league starter, and then also doing some guide making. I want to get a full feel of all the popular skills in the game, and just kind of what looking for. It super helps with trade league, just knowing what's going to be popular and what those builds need. Nothing else to do before patch notes. Patch notes are probably 2 weeks away yet, so we can test out some of the skills and builds that were popular, and then try to find our own little tweaks to those and make them our own. So, new transfigured gems need to be tested without charms and tinctures. This is super important. Lastly, we got over 100 new transfigured gems that were only tested with the abilities of charms and tinctures. We need to figure out how these are going to be used now that we don't have charms and tinctures. At least we're going to assume that they're not going core. I think it's a pretty safe assumption to make. Before we jump into the top 5 or 6 list here, please do make sure to click the like, subscribe button, and let me know what you league started last league down below in the comments, and what you're looking to do this league, and how you liked your league starter. That's super important. Like, play style, what you're looking to do. We have no information on what the league mechanics really going to be yet, but that does make a determination on what I choose to be a league starter as well. So make sure to add that in later when we get closer to release of the new league. All right, so where do I get my information from? We always get our information from PoE Ninja. I always go back to the first 3 days, like day 3 of the league. You'll see my search here. Affliction, day 3, we're in full softcore trade league. Sort by skill, just take 5 most popular. In this case, 5 and 6 were exact highs, so I added them both, and that's why I have 6. And then I look for overlaps, kind of combined together. Either their transitional skills or mostly transitional skills that move into another skill, and I combine those together because they're one build. So that is how we get this list. Let's jump into it. Number 6, Toxic Rain. So Toxic Rain has been good for as long as I've been playing Path of Exile, basically. It's just a good damage over time chaos build. It is almost entirely played as Pathfinder now, a little bit of champion, and then as in your 2/3 of the builds are using the Ballista Totem support, so they're playing a totem-based Pathfinder with Ballista Totem. This has been a pretty tried and true build for the past few leagues now. Biggest problems or things you need to like about Toxic Rain is that it's a damage over time playstyle, and then it's a totem style on top of that, so your damage is super delayed. You put a totem down, the totem fires, you wait for the pods to explode, then they deal damage over time. Just saying that felt like a lot of words before the actual damage happens, so that's something you need to take. But like, you definitely, if you're going to want to play this build, you haven't played it before, definitely give it a try first, because it is not for everybody. But it is super good for a league start scenario. It levels well with gems, and is an excellent expedition farmer. I'm talking about why I'm adding that in here because it's really important in a second. But expedition is a really good league start currency making guide, especially in softcore trade. You see that there's tons of guides how to make currency with expedition, and I think the builds that are popular have started to represent that more. All right, number 5, Explosive Arrow. So, interestingly enough, Explosive Arrow and Toxic Rain have very similar playstyles, even though they're completely different abilities and they're not even played on the same characters, but they're both used as Ballista Totems. Explosive Arrow uses Elementalist or Champion. Elementalist is the offensive version, Champion is the more defensive playstyle. If you were playing a hardcore version of Explosive Arrow Ballista, you would play Champion most likely. Interestingly enough, this puts 2 Ballista Totem builds in the top 5 or top 6. Combines these at about a 6% play rate for a league starter, which is pretty significant. That, Totem style isn't particularly well liked. It's a niche play style, but very, very strong, especially Ballista Totem. So that's interesting to just think about alone. Explosive Arrow uses Ignite Proliferation, damage over time, Totem playstyle. Again, this is an excellent expedition farmer. So the first 2 builds in the list are both fantastic expedition, which is not really surprising in softcore trade league. The other thing I'll say about Explosive Arrow, it does have a lot of small nuances to it. If you do want to play an Explosive Arrow Ballista Totem builder, make sure to check out a build guide. Try to learn those nuances. There's things with elemental equilibrium and how fast your attack should be to get the maximum amount of fuses. If you've never looked at Explosive Arrow, you basically apply fuses to your enemy and then they explode based on how many fuses there are. And trying to figure out your perfect like attack speed for that is extremely important. Fourth on the list is Detonate Dead. So this is interesting because Detonate Dead has always been a good skill. Pretty much everybody in PoE knows Detonate Dead's a good skill. Corpse skills are just really, really good. But this is probably, I think, the first time since I've been doing this series of top 5 league stars that Detonate Dead's actually been in the top 5 in softcore trade league. So Detonate Dead almost exclusively play an Elementalist for the Ignite ability. Detonate Dead Ignite is basically the HC SSF #1 build for a long time. You'll see all the top racers playing this. Detonate Dead and the new transfigured version, Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction. For this, we're just talking about the regular Detonate Dead version. It's finally seen more play in Trade League. This is your go-to minimal gear boss or fast rushing bosses at the beginning of the league. Playstyle for mapping is pretty simple. You basically shield charge around, press Desecrate, then Detonate Dead. It's based on corpse life that you do more damage. Charms really helped this build this league. There's charms that added more maximum corpse life. So very important. And then I just wanted to mention this here. I don't think it's super important, but there was a bugged corpse at the beginning of the league that caused Detonate Dead and corpses to have way too much life. Hence, Detonate Dead would do way more damage. That got removed, the ability was still super good, so I don't think that's a big deal. I just want to make sure to mention it here, as it was something that was brought up at the beginning of the league. Third, Bone Shatter. Bone Shatter has been, I think, top 3 every one of these videos I've ever done in the past probably like 3-4 leagues. It's played pretty much exclusively on Juggernaut or Slayer. Very tanky, burst damage. I would say if you're both are super good, Juggernaut's gonna be a little bit tankier, Slayer's gonna be a little bit more damage. Both are super good. They're very fast mappers. You basically jump to a pack, do Bone Shatter, jump to a pack, do Bone Shatter. That's it. That's the rinse and repeat. This is a melee ability, so it's the only melee ability that's on the list. It's pretty much the only melee ability that's ever in the top 5. Other than that, it needs a good weapon. So you're going for a big fizz axe, 2-handed weapon, and that's how you scale your damage with Bone Shatter. It's very good base ability though. So that is Bone Shatter. There's a new transfigured version of Bone Shatter called Bone Shatter of Complex Trauma. But I believe the original Bone Shatter still sees more play and it's still more popular. Number 2 was our honorable mention from last league. I didn't make the top 5 list, but I predicted it would, so good job me. Summon Raging Spirits. This build gathered a lot of attention going into the league start as a Guardian Elemental version. Basically, SRS, Summon Raging Spirits, deals physical damage converted to fire damage. Able to scale the auras from the Guardian Relic super well. So there's the Elemental version. Now it's about 80% of the play rate was Guardian Summon Raging Spirits. The other 20% though was playing Necromancer Summon Raging Spirits, which is the poison variant, typically. So that was interesting to see, because I thought Guardian was like significantly better than Necromancer for this play, but either way, things to look out here for. This is a minion, I call it minion-ish playstyle, because basically you can use minions for support, like permanent minions like Animate Guardian and Spectres, but the actual SRS minions need to be summoned when you get to an enemy basically every time. So you summon them, they die pretty quickly. You need like Blessed Rebirth, so they're at least alive for like 4 seconds, and then they be resummoned at each pack. They don't like move around. They move around a little bit. They don't move around a ton. They won't like, can't convocate them. They're temporary minions. Why this build is popular? A lot of content creators really saying the praises of Guardian Summon Raging Spirit. It got super popular, hyped up before league start, which is for a good reason. Guardian has one of the easiest early progressions. Its first Ascendancy passive lets you summon the Sentinel of Radiance. That does the big like AoE Righteous Fire minion basically. It can clear the entire campaign by himself. Add in a couple more minion things with SRS and you are set to go pretty much until red maps and bossing, and even then you have a pretty good gearing. This is a very popular build. I expect it, unless there's some changes to the way Guardian or the Raging Spirit itself works, that this will be popular again. And finally, number 1, to no surprise for the second league in a row, Lightning Arrow, Tornado Shot, Deadeye. It's kind of lumped it all together. Bow builds. Deadeye, this is like over 25% of league starters are using some combination of Lightning Arrow or Tornado Shot, as most builds transition from Lightning Arrow to Tornado Shot eventually. The Zoomer bow build, not tanky, don't get hit playstyle. It's perfect for softcore trade league because this is by far the fastest mapper you're gonna find. Tornado Shot was good. We had a mapping league with Affliction League, Wisps, and the best farming method ended up being just Magic Find or juiced maps from Wisps with a fast build that can clear maps quickly. This build scales with your bow, so you want to do a triple elemental bow until you can do a fizz conversion to cold bow later. That's not really league startish. Biggest reason why this saw there's two big reasons why this saw a huge bump in play rate is one, qualities were reworked this patch. So Lightning Arrow and Tornado Shot both got really good new qualities that up the level them. Tornado Shot basically got its lab enchant put onto its quality instead. It was a huge buff to Tornado Shot. And then secondly, we had a mapping league with Wisps, and yeah, this build Lightning Arrow, Tornado Shot, Dead just being the best build of the league. Many people played it, especially the people who played a long time doing Magic Find. So those are our top 6 builds of the league. I want to talk about some of the takeaways you got from this. Those are really good and popular. I don't know how this gets nerfed. I don't think it'll get nerfed. I think this build will just be like this for a while. Basically, if you nerfed Lightning Arrow and Tornado Shot, then Ice Shot would become probably the most popular build. Would be my guess, at least. I think the only way that bows would get nerfed would be an actual nerf to the bows themselves. Triple elemental bows would have to get nerfed. So I just don't see that happening. Second takeaway, players have really taken to early league Expedition as a farming method. We saw 2 totem playstyles, Ballista totems that are super good at Expedition. Logbooks are super expensive first few like weeks of the league for things like that, and we're really starting to see builds kind of morph to that as well. There are no transfigured gems in the top 5. I think it's really important. I think this will change. We weren't sure how we like successfully be able to get transfigured gems. This being the first league that they are available, so in this league I expect they'll be popular. We know that you can get them pretty easily from lab, and then even then in trade league especially, you can trade them pretty cheap the first few days of the league when everybody's doing labs and there's just an abundance of transfigured gems available. You can usually get the one that you're looking for. Lastly, last league introduced tinctures and charms, which left a lot to be discovered with transfigured gems. Tinctures and charms really carried the league, the sub-ascendancies, changed the way abilities and builds worked, and made some better than they expected to be, or worse than they expected to be comparatively. So it'll be interesting to see how all these builds work without these extra forms of power creep available to them. That being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you watched the entire video, make sure to click the like button down below. Check out my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Ferks. Link will be down below in the description as we get ready for a league start of 3.24. We have 3 weeks to go, and I've been already testing a bunch of transfigured gems that didn't get the love or proper testing they deserved in 3.23. So I'm doing all those without tinctures, charms, solo self-found setting, just to see how they feel as league starters. I have a couple of videos out already, so make sure to click subscribe so you see those as they come out, as I think that'll be kind of like a diary for me of going back, looking forward, seeing what I thought of these gems as we get ready for a league start. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all next time.